The 4 best hashtag strategies you need to be using on TikTok have recently changed. And if you haven't been adapting to these latest hashtag strategies, it's probably why you're seeing a decrease in the amount of reach that you're getting right now. But all you have to do is implement these 4 new strategies and it's going to skyrocket the amount of followers and the amount of views that you're currently getting. In fact, this creator right here just changed his strategies and gained over 80,000 followers in just 30 days. And this creator is able to do the same thing, except they get over 120,000 followers. And the same exact thing can happen to you so long as you implement these new 4 hashtag strategies. And you need to make sure that you're using the last one because it's by far the most important and it's making the most small accounts, just like yours, blow up. Strategy number 1 is 10 to 12 different hashtags, but I do want to warn you, there are certain types of hashtags you need to be implementing. It can't just be 10 to 12 random hashtags or 10 to 12 hashtags that you thought would be a good fit. Instead, you need to make sure that there's a specific number of trending hashtags, niche specific hashtags, and broad hashtags. If you don't know what these are, let me explain that quickly. Broad hashtags are things like hashtag FYP, hashtag viral, hashtag trending, hashtag for you page, things along the lines of that are just really broad on TikTok. Niche specific hashtags are going to be the things that are super specific to whatever you're posting about. So if you're doing a post about affiliate marketing, it's going to be hashtag affiliate marketing, hashtag digital products, or whatever other hashtags show up if you do a search for that. The other type of hashtags are going to be trending hashtags. And I do want to warn you, you need to make sure that you use trending hashtags correctly, because if you use these the wrong way, it's going to completely destroy the amount of reach that you're getting. When it comes to trending hashtags, what you need to make sure of is that you're grabbing them from the Discover page, but more importantly, if they're not related to what you're going to be posting about, these could actually be destroying your reach, and I see a lot of small accounts just like yours making this mistake right now. Which brings me to the second hashtag strategy you need to make sure that you're using, which is going to be 3 to 4 hashtags. And I did want to remind you, the last one I'm going to share with you is by far the most important. If you're not implementing the last hashtag strategy I share with you, it's probably why you're getting less views than your competitors or people that you see creating content and you think your content's actually better than theirs. It's probably why. On top of that, I did want to remind you, because I forgot to say it earlier in this video, when it comes to those broad hashtags, niche specific hashtags, and trending hashtags, here's how I would actually break them out. I would only use trending hashtags if you're creating a piece of content on whatever is trending. If you're not, well then just leave those trending hashtags alone. And otherwise, I would make sure that you're using 75% niche specific hashtags, 25% broad hashtags. So in the 10 to 12, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want 9 of those to be very niche specific, and you're going to want the other 3 to be things that are things like hashtag FYP, hashtag viral, hashtag trending. And essentially what that's going to do is allow you to expand the amount of reach that you get, because your content's going to be hyper relevant to a specific niche. The niche hashtags are going to help TikTok know that, and then those broad hashtags are going to help remind TikTok that they still need to show your content to people that might not be directly interested in it, so that you can expand the size of your niche. But before we get into those, I did want to remind you that not all hashtags on TikTok are created equally. And if you use a hashtag that's too small or that's not relevant to exactly what you're posting about, this could be leading to TikTok actually showing your content to the wrong audience, which probably leaves you wondering, Rob, what hashtag should I be using every single time that you post? And lucky for you, today's video sponsor Metricool is literally going to tell you exactly which hashtags you should be using and which ones are going to be relevant for what you're posting about. For example, if I was going to post a video about how to grow on TikTok, I would come in and Metricool would show me the best hashtags related to that, and they would even create a description for me with their text generator assistant AI tool. And if you want to be able to find the best hashtags for whatever you're going to be posting about, I'd strongly suggest you go to the pinned comment below and register to get 30 days free access to any of their premium plans if you use code ROBBER. But the value with Metricool actually doesn't end there. In addition to that, you're going to be able to see whether or not you're ranking for search on Metricool, because this is actually the only place that you can come to see if you're getting views from search. TikTok won't show you this within their native app, and Metricool is the only way to know that. And if you didn't know, TikTok's actually paying content creators more money if you're able to rank for search, so this is something that you definitely need to know about. And it makes Metricool a must-use tool if you want to get more views on TikTok, you want to get more followers on TikTok, or you want to be able to make more money on TikTok. So what are you waiting for? Go to that pinned comment below, register for 30 days free access to any of their premium plans with code ROBBER. And now for the third best hashtag strategy, before we get into the last and best hashtag strategy, which is going to be 5 to 6 hashtags. Now, before I share with you that last and final hashtag strategy, I did want to make sure that you understand that there are 3 other things that TikTok actually cares about when they go to decide whether or not to push out your posts. And if you're not taking these 3 things into consideration, and the only thing that you're focused on is hashtags, it's probably going to be why you're not growing quick enough on TikTok. The first thing is going to be the actual format of your posts. Now, there are only 3 types of posts that TikTok is really pushing right now. The first one are going to be videos, but ideally videos that are 5 to 11 seconds long, and then content that's over 60 seconds long. So we can put that in the video bucket. You need to make sure that you're creating content like this. In addition to that, you need to make sure that you're going live on TikTok. In fact, we're going to look back at right now, today, May 2024, and say that this was the best time ever to go live on TikTok, because not that many people are going live, but also if you go live on TikTok, it shows up within the For You page. It allows you to make money. It even allows you to get more followers. So you need to make sure that you're going live on TikTok if you're serious about growing an audience, if you're serious about making more money on TikTok, and ultimately it's going to keep people on your TikTok page for longer, which TikTok loves, and then they push your content to them after you get off a live. And that third type of content that you need to make sure that you're uploading are going to be those carousel photos. This is one of the biggest hacks on TikTok right now. In fact, it's probably the quickest way to grow on TikTok, and that is going to be uploading carousel photos that are at least 3 photos long, and you need a description of at least 250 characters, and please make sure those photos are telling a story. The first one should have a hook, the next 2 should actually complete that story, and you need a call to action on the last one to get people to follow you, because if you leave that out, you're just going to get a lot of views, you're going to get a lot of reach, and ultimately you're not going to actually gain any followers from it. That second thing that TikTok's focused on is that you're actually using the features available to you on TikTok that are going to help you get more reach. For example, adding trending sounds to your content. And the only way that you should use a trending sound is you need to make sure that if you go into that sound, all the other videos that are being made under it look like the video that you're creating. If they don't, you're not participating in that trend, and you shouldn't actually be using that sound. In addition to that, you need to make sure that you're using the green screen feature. They're pushing out the green screen feature like crazy. But really what that green screen feature forces you to do is one of 2 things. Either 1, have a really good hook in your piece of content, or 2, create content about something that's newsworthy, something that's trending, or something that people actually care about. And if you're not getting more than 300 views every single time you post on TikTok, it's simply because what you're posting about is something that nobody cares about. And if you start using the green screen feature, it's going to force you to post about things that people really care about, and boom, you're going to end up getting more views, which is going to equate to getting more followers and ultimately making more money on TikTok. Now, if you're doing those 2 things correct, then the only other reason that you're not getting the views that you want to on TikTok right now is simply because you're messing up your audience retention. Or you might only be focused on one type of audience retention, because there are 3 types TikTok looks at. The first and most important is going to be the 3-second audience retention. Are you keeping people through the first 3 seconds of your content? If you're not, well then boom, your video is going to be dead in the tracks and it is not going to get pushed anymore. Now, second to that is going to be your audience retention at the 50% mark. You need to make sure that people are still watching your content halfway through the video. In fact, the more people you have watching your content at the halfway point, the more views you're ultimately going to end up getting. Back in the day on TikTok, if we're talking 3 months ago, 6 months ago, even 12 months ago, the only thing that they cared about was that 3-second audience duration. But now they want to see whether or not you're keeping people to the halfway point, and then finally the completion rate that you're receiving. But more important than the completion rate is whether or not people are actually replaying your video. Are you giving people a reason to replay the video, or are they just trying to skip through the entire video to get to the end of it? Either way, you need to be focused on audience retention, and you need to make sure that you're looking at your audience retention graph. If there is ever a point in your video where there is a huge drop off, guess what that means? Stop doing whatever you did there. It might have been that you sneezed. It might have been that you had a call to action. It might have been that you started to talk about yourself, or maybe you just weren't doing anything that entertaining or that exciting. Either way, you need to cut that out of your content if you want to get more views. And then finally, you need to be using that last and best hashtag strategy, which is going to be 1 to 2 hashtags. In fact, TikTok has literally come out themselves and said that less is more when it comes to hashtags right now. If you're choosing 2 hashtags hyper relevant to whatever you're posting about, this is going to help increase the amount of reach that you're getting, and ultimately it's going to make it really easy for the TikTok algorithm to know who to push your content out to. Now, the only other reason you're not getting the views or the followers, making the money that you want from TikTok right now, is simply because you don't know what to post, you don't know what time to post, and ultimately you don't actually know how to improve your content. And I personally want to help you with this. And if you want to find out how I can help, I strongly suggest you check out this video right here that shares with you exactly how I can help you grow quicker on TikTok.